Halloween Unmasked. Spirits, sacrifices, and secrets from the shadows. Welcome back. I'm Hudson Gray. Halloween may feel like a playful night, filled with costumes, candy, and laughter. But beneath its festive surface lies a deep and ancient history, rooted in rituals, sacrifices, and hidden meanings. This night, known in the ancient Celtic world as Samhain, wasn't just about celebration, it was about survival. The Celts believed that on October 31st, the boundary between the living and the dead dissolved, leaving mortals exposed to both friendly spirits and dangerous entities. Samhain, a night between worlds. Samhain, pronounced Samhain, marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of the dark, cold months. This transition into winter symbolized death and rebirth, a time when people faced the reality of nature's harshness and the fragility of life. During Samhain, it was believed that the veil between the living world and the other world became thin, allowing spirits to pass freely between realms. Some of these spirits were thought to be ancestors, returning to offer protection or guidance to their families. But others were malevolent forces, spirits, fairies, and beings that would trick or harm the living if not appeased. To protect themselves, people donned costumes and masks to confuse wandering spirits. If a spirit couldn't tell if a human was one of its own, it was less likely to follow or harm them. This early form of disguise became the precursor to the Halloween costumes we know today. Bonfires, cleansing, and sacrifice. One of the most powerful rituals during Samhain was the lighting of massive fires known as bonfires. These fires weren't simply for warmth, they held sacred meaning. The term bonfire itself comes from these ritual fires, in which animal bones, and possibly human remains, were burned to ward off spirits and appease gods like Cernunnos, the horned god. The flames symbolized both destruction and purification, a way to cleanse the community from evil influences as they transitioned into the dark winter months. In some legends, the Druids believed that sacrificing animals, or even humans, during these fires would secure blessings for the new year. After the bonfires, people carried embers from the communal blaze back to their homes to light new hearth fires, spreading the protective energy of the ritual throughout the community. Masks and sacrifices, the first costumes. Masks weren't just about disguise, they were tools of survival. Wearing a mask or animal skin was meant to confuse spirits into believing the wearer was one of them. This helped prevent possession or curses, which were feared during this dangerous night. Over centuries, this practice evolved into costumes and trick-or-treating, where people, particularly children, mimicked the chaotic nature of the spirits by going door to door, demanding offerings. Samhain also involved sacrifices to gods like Cernunnos, or the demonic figure associated with winter and death. These sacrifices were performed to ensure the gods' favor and survival through the harsh season. Some stories claim that Druids performed human sacrifices, believing that blood offerings would appease the gods and keep malevolent forces at bay. The persistence of rituals through Christianity. When Christianity spread through Celtic regions, the Church tried to replace pagan rituals with religious celebrations. Pope Gregory IV established All Saints' Day on November 1st, turning October 31st into All Hallows' Eve, which later became Halloween. Despite these efforts, many of the original customs survive, particularly in rural areas where bonfires, masks, and offerings continued to be part of local traditions. Even today, Wiccans and modern pagans celebrate Samhain as a sacred festival, They honor ancestors, perform divination rituals, and reflect on their shadow selves, continuing the spiritual themes of death, renewal, and transformation that marked the original Samhain. In the next part, we'll explore the monsters of Halloween, including the Dullahan, the original headless horseman, and other creatures said to roam the night. We'll also uncover the ways these ancient myths still shape modern horror and fear today. Let's dive even deeper into the terrifying truths behind Halloween. In part 1, we uncovered the ancient roots of Halloween, tracing them back to Samhain, a night of fires, masks, and dangerous spirits. But there's more to the story. Halloween has remained a night of transformation, where myths, monsters, and rituals blend into the modern world. Now, let's explore the creatures and fears that still haunt the night, as well as how ancient rituals persist in subtle ways, even today. Monsters born from Samhain, the Dullahan, and fairies. Samhain was not only a time to honor the dead, it was a night filled with monsters and supernatural threats. One of the most terrifying figures to emerge from these legends was the Dullahan, a headless rider who carried his decayed head under one arm. The Dullahan was an omen of death, and anyone who crossed his path soon perished. His presence reflected the Celtic belief that death was an ever-present force during Samhain, lurking just beyond the veil between worlds. Another threat during this liminal night came from the Slewog, a host of restless spirits. These entities were said to travel in packs, capturing souls or leading them astray. Some legends even claimed that fairies, usually tricksters, would kidnap humans during Samhain, luring them into the otherworld with false promises. This fear led to many of the rituals we associate with Halloween today, like leaving out offerings to appease spirits or wearing disguises to escape their notice. Halloween as a portal, spirit communication, and shadow work. The thinning of the veil between worlds makes Halloween an ideal time for rituals and divination. Even now, occult practitioners use this night to connect with the dead, holding seances, tarot readings, and scrying sessions. Wiccans celebrate Samhain as the Witch's New Year, a time to honor ancestors and perform shadow work, a practice of confronting and integrating the darker aspects of the self. This focus on introspection reflects the belief that transformation can only occur by confronting fear and death head on. The persistence of rituals, bonfires, masks, and offerings. While Halloween is often seen as commercial fun today, the rituals of Samhain live on beneath the surface. The bonfires have become symbolic in modern Halloween celebrations, with fire pits and torches lighting neighborhood gatherings. Similarly, the practice of carving jack-o'-lanterns started as a way to frighten spirits, but evolved into a decoration that still holds echoes of ancient fears. Originally carved from turnips and filled with burning coals, these lanterns were thought to ward off wandering spirits. Now, they decorate homes as pumpkins, their glowing faces still watching from doorsteps. The practice of trick-or-treating mirrors ancient rituals as well. In earlier times, people left offerings outside their doors to appease spirits. Failure to leave a proper offering could invite curses or hauntings. Today, children dressed as ghosts, monsters, and fairies go door to door, continuing the theme of offering gifts to avoid a trick, or, in ancient terms, a curse. Though these customs have softened over time, the core idea remains unchanged. Give a gift or risk misfortune. Monsters of the modern mind, how fear endures. Halloween remains a night of fear, not just in mythology, but in the human psyche. Horror movies and urban legends thrive during this season because they tap into the same primal fears that the Celts experienced thousands of years ago. The fear of the unknown, possession, and death itself continues to shape modern Halloween stories. Movies about demons, spirits, and haunted houses reflect the lingering belief that Halloween is a portal night, where boundaries blur and strange things can enter our world. Even the concept of the masked villain, like Michael Myers from the Halloween franchise, echoes the ancient use of masks to hide one's identity from spirits. In these films, the mask serves both as a disguise and a manifestation of something inhuman, something beyond ordinary fear. Just as the Celts wore animal skins to trick spirits, these characters become more terrifying because their true nature is hidden beneath a mask. Halloween's hidden power. Halloween has evolved, but it has never truly lost its connection to fear, transformation, and the unknown. The bonfires, masks, and offerings still carry traces of the ancient rituals that shaped the holiday. Beneath the surface, it remains a night where the living confront the dead, and where fear becomes a tool for survival and change. Even in its modern form, Halloween reminds us that darkness is part of life, and that only by facing it can we find renewal. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the hidden truths of Halloween. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Stay curious, stay brave, and remember, the veil is thin and monsters are closer than you think.